Next, from Springfield, we talk with Don Schaefer, Executive Vice President of the MidWest Truckers Association. He tells us about the effect high fuel prices are having on truckers, what truckers want done about distracted drivers, and how Illinois compares to its neighboring states in terms of creating a favorable business climate. This runs about 10 minutes.
Don Schaefer, Executive Vice President of the MidWest Truckers Association. Thanks for joining us again on the Illinois channel. And we wanted to touch base with you on a couple of issues. Let's start with the economy. Truckers obviously carry much of the goods and goods that we use, whether it's furniture or groceries to the local grocery store, etc. And so are probably a pretty good barometer of some of the economic activity as it happens around the state. Given that knowledge, what are your insights as far as how the actual economy of Illinois is doing from a kind of a boots on the ground perspective?
If you look at it from a national standpoint, we do see the recovery underway. I think we're seeing an increase in shipments, we're seeing more trucks on the road. Even more interesting is to see that truck registrations are up. Not much, but they're up a little bit, which has kind of stopped this downward trend that we've had the last couple of years because of slowdown in the economy. That's a good sign. Also, we've seen the fact that people are buying new trucks. New truck sales mean that there's some money out there that's being loosened up to buy this new equipment, and not just to keep the old equipment on the road, but turning it over and putting some new rolling stock on the highway.
And from the perspective of the gas prices, everyone is driving around and getting pinched. I remember years ago when diesel fuel used to be less expensive than gasoline. These days it's much more expensive. What impact are the fuel prices having on your members?
Well, the one wild card in terms of how the economy is doing is really going to be the price of fuel and the impact of fuel has, not just on the industry, but on the entire economy. Diesel fuel, which powers most of the trucks in the country, is priced right up there with gasoline, a couple cents higher. You're paying more than $4 a gallon for diesel fuel. The fear is it may hit $5 a gallon before the summer's over. On the other side, you have the consumer. The consumer is paying $4 a gallon for gasoline right now. So instead of buying widgets, buying new lawn furniture, buying steak, they're buying instead hamburger, and they're buying fuel because of the fact that they still got to have that fuel to power the car to get the kids to school, to go to work. That's one item that they cannot do without. They can cut other things, but they can't cut the amount of fuel they buy because they just need it in their everyday lives.
One of the other issues, we're here at the state capitol. You lobby, you work with lawmakers, both, as we say here at the Capitol, defense and offense, meaning sometimes you're proposing a law and other times you're trying to block one. One of the issues that we are hearing resonate a lot these days has to do with cell phones and the use of cell phones, and distracted driving is the catchphrase that has become popular. What's the position of the MidWest Truckers Association relative to that issue?
On January 3rd, the federal government imposed a new regulation on the industry that basically says no, you can't use a cell phone unless it's hands-free. And you can push one button to talk, you wear a Bluetooth, use a speakerphone, but you cannot text, and you can't basically sit there and play with your phone while you're driving. Industry knew it was coming down. A lot of businesses have already had that regulation or that rule in their employee handbook, so it's nothing new for the industry. A lot of movement right now to take that federal regulation and put it across the entire motoring public. Trucking industry is in favor of that because of the fact that sure, you're taking care of the truck operator. He's not texting, he's not playing with his phones while he's driving. You want him to have both hands on the wheel of the truck while they're driving. That's okay, but you really worry about the other person, the other guy on the road. The old saying is, she's not drunk, she's texting, when you're watching him fly down the road, going sideways, hitting the rumble strip or what have you, and then jerking back on the road. It's a real problem. The hands-free cell phone ban legislation we think is probably going to be not just a state law, but pretty soon it's probably going to be a federal law, just because of the fact that even when you're on that cell phone, you aren't concentrating on the highway, and the concern is that you aren't cognizant of everything that's going on the road, and that cell phone ban is crucial, at least to have a hands-free requirement to be able to use a cell phone when you're.
Lastly, I would say we heard back when Governor Blagojevich was the governor, they had raised the fees on truckers, and there was a number of industries or businesses that moved out of the state, I should say trucking industry. Where do you stand as the overall regulatory environment now for the trucking industry in Illinois? Is Illinois a good place to do business if you're a trucker, or are there still issues that need to be addressed from your industry's perspective?
I think the trucking industry is like a lot of industries, a lot of business in Illinois, is that the environment is still very, very tough for any industry in Illinois. When you're dealing with the issues of your high costs related to your workers' comp cost, your unemployment insurance cost, your taxes that you pay, both corporate and personal, all these work against you in Illinois. The trucking industry also bears a real burden because we have some of the highest taxes on our industry in Illinois than in any other state. We still have a good portion of the commercial distribution fee in place. We're still paying these fees on top of the registration fees that we pay like any other state, but we have an extra burden here in Illinois. Plus the fact that we don't have the benefits of a lot of tax exemptions that have been tightened up over previous years that they have given to what we call rolling stock. All these things make it really tough to operate in Illinois. We haven't seen the growth in the industry in Illinois because, matter of fact, a lot of those businesses, they left Illinois. They went to Indiana or they went to Missouri where there's a more favorable business environment. They started doing this back 8-9 years ago. And in fact, we never got them back. And new companies aren't coming to Illinois. I don't know many trucking companies that are going to say, hey, we're going to move to Illinois because it's such a great place to do business. A lot of the companies say, we got to be here. We got to be in Illinois because that's where our customers are. And we'll survive, but please, government, don't make it so tough on us that we can't survive. Be it on the state level, be it on the local level. Don't tax and fee us to death because, we're an important part of the Illinois economy. It's not just the trucking industry that you go after when you put all these taxes and fees on, but you go after our customers, which is every business in the state of Illinois, because then their transportation costs also go up.
Yeah, and again, you're the Midwest Truckers Association, not the Illinois Truckers Association, so you bring the perspective of states surrounding Illinois, and obviously have members in those states to contrast, to compare, even though your offices are here in the Springfield area.
Sure, we can tell you, we've got members in 14 states, and it's a whole different story what you deal with in Missouri, whole different story what you deal with in Indiana. Wisconsin's a tough state to operate in, but nothing like Illinois.
Let me ask, of those 14 states, where would you rank as far as degree of difficulty of doing business in a state? Where would Illinois rank?
Oh, number one. Number one, definitely. Just because of the compounding of the business environment, the tax environment, the regulatory environment that you deal with in this state, Illinois is number one. It just so happens probably the best state to do business with is, 100 miles to the east of here, Indiana. Indiana's always said that, Illinois is the best thing that ever happened in Indiana, and from a trucking standpoint, unfortunately, it has been. And
Are there any specifics that come to mind? What are they doing right that Illinois is not doing right?
Number one, lower registration fees. The fact is that Indiana, even though if a trucker in Illinois is going to travel in Indiana, or an Indiana's trucker is going to travel in Illinois, you're going to pay the same in terms of your registration fees. It works out about the same, but you don't get taxed. Your business taxes are a totally different ballgame. Your unemployment insurance, your workers' comp, these things are less. Your regulatory fees and regulatory paperwork that you have to deal with are different between Illinois and Indiana. Business friendly? Yeah, Indiana is. You know, and we keep impressing on Illinois, hey, you know, help us out. You know, what can we do, you know, to keep the Illinois truckers in Illinois and not send them to Indiana, not send them to Missouri or another state where your cost of operation, your overall cost of operation is going to be less.
And I know we sometimes hear people say it's an idle threat when a business will leave. Obviously, you've had many members who it wasn't an idle threat and they did take up and leave the state.
There are some very large trucking companies, truck operators in Illinois that picked up and moved their truck fleet to Indiana. A lot of the major moving companies did. One of the largest haulers of rock, sand, and gravel down in the down in the St. Louis area, look at their trucks. The truck says they're from, I think, East St. Louis, but their license plates in their truck say Indiana. Don't have to say any more about that.
All right, Don Schaefer, we appreciate you sharing your thoughts with us. Maybe we can visit again in the near future and get a follow-up on hopefully the economy continues to go up.
And we hope it does.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.